welcome back. View from the sidelines. The European Super League update. And what can I say about this, chaps, that we ain't already heard and said? But we've learned a lot more today. Got Tommy in the house. I've got Caffel. I'm going to start off with Tommy. Tommy, what have you made of the events today?
Much as I expected, really. UEFA and FIFA obviously coming out very hard against it, but there had already been strong rumblings from them before the official announcement, so that wasn't a surprise. I was waiting to see what would happen domestically, actually. I was waiting to see what the response would be from the FA and the Premier League. Unfortunately, we haven't really had much of anything from them. We know that the other 14 Premier League teams are meeting with the FA, presumably a Zoom call, meeting with the FA and the Premier League tomorrow. So we'll have to see what comes out of that. But we did also see some strong condemnation from former and current players and managers, which was good to see. I think it's clear that Jurgen Klopp, from his interview before their game with Leeds, is not happy with this. Mourinho apparently was so unhappy he came to loggerheads with Daniel Levy and got himself sacked over this. So the tide is certainly only going in one direction. The only people apparently who are in favour of this are the owners of these clubs. And maybe there's a very small minority of each fan base that's okay with it. But everyone else is against it. We're also seeing now the government are looking like they're going to step in, and they intend to put a stop to this. So the tide is going in one direction, and hopefully that's a good sign that we can actually nip this thing in the bud and put a stop to this absolute madness. So I think the big thing really will be tomorrow when we hear officially from the Premier League. They've got to come down hard on these teams, like very, very hard, and really put them under serious pressure. And hopefully they'll have the stones to do that.
What do you think, Tommy, will happen tomorrow?
It's hard to know. I mean, clearly, I think the other 14 Premier League clubs are going to be very unhappy. And I think they will speak in very strong terms. Because what's happening right now is these six, well, let's call them the 12 teams. I want to talk about it because we're talking kind of about the domestic ramifications.
Yeah.
So I'll just talk about the six English clubs. But it goes to all 12, obviously, because they have their own domestic leagues who are going to have a say on this too. So what these clubs are basically doing is they're calling the bluff of everybody, right? So they're calling UEFA and FIFA's bluff. They're saying, well, we're leaving the UEFA Federation as clubs anyway because we're starting up our own league. We're not interested in your Champions League anymore or your Europa League or anything else. So they don't care about that. They're going their own way anyway. They are prepared, I believe, to challenge in the courts if FIFA and UEFA ban players from playing international football because of it. I think that will go to the courts. So they're ready to fight that in the courts. The big thing for me is domestically. So what they're doing domestically is they're saying to the Premier League and the FA, we think you need us more than we need you. And we don't think you've got the bottle to kick us out of English football. Because the Premier League obviously has become a monster financially. The TV deals, not just with Sky and BT, but also the international TV rights, which they sell globally, is also worth a hell of a lot of money. And they're saying to the FA and the Premier League, if you kick us out, you don't have a product. Your deal with Sky and with the international broadcasters will plummet in value. And so we don't believe you have a Premier League as it stands right now without us. That you cannot go on without us. So they're calling their bluff and saying, we think you need us more than we need you, and we dare you to kick us out and suffer the consequences monetarily of what that would mean. So, and let's be fair, they actually do have a point. You know, they do have a strong hand to play in that regard. It's not really untrue. The question is, what will the response be from the Premier League? Will they bottle it? Will they just slap these teams on the wrist? No, it might be a hard slap. You know, it might be a serious slap on the wrist. But ultimately, if it's huge fines or points deductions and stuff like that, these teams don't care. They'll take that and they'll be laughing. They'll be saying, we don't care about your fines. We're going to be minting it. We're all getting 3.5 billion just for a start for joining this league. And we're guaranteed, so it's like 300 million per season from it thereafter. They don't care about money anymore. They're going to have loads of it. They're going to have money burning a hole in their pockets. So they don't care about that. And they don't care about points deductions because they're not trying to qualify for Champions League anymore because they're not playing in it. They don't care. So they're calling the bluff and they are playing quite a strong hand, it has to be said. And so this is the big thing for me. What will be the response tomorrow of the FA and the Premier League? How strong will it be? Will they hold their nerve and say, we don't care about all that, we'll sort all that out after, you're gone. You're gone from domestic football. I hope that's what they do. I hope they hold their nerve and pull the trigger. Because if they back down now, we're done for.
Yeah, I agree. That's quite a passionate statement, and I can't not agree with you there, mate. Cathal,
it's hard to back up anything after that from Tommy now, in fairness.
But in your opinion, mate, what do you expect to see happen tomorrow?
As Tommy said there, it's tough because do you financially ruin the league but it's for integrity? Do they have enough integrity to say, all right, yous can piss off then? If this is ye didn't care about us, why should we care about you? Get out. But is it financially worth it? You see, that's the way they should do it. In all honesty, but are they just the things I've seen? I know these are just people on Twitter sort of saying their opinions. Some people are saying suspend them 6 teams from it, but for this year. But how does that work then? How does suspending it goes to a 14-man league? But what happens next year then? Are they back in it? No one gets promoted, no one gets relegated, or how does it work? I don't get that one. You have to get rid of them, or you have to deduct them points, which is not enough. It's not enough to slap on the wrist for what they've done, shown to respect-wise to the Premier League.
Here's the quandary that the Premier League have been put in now. I already spoke about the financial implications. I don't want to repeat myself and bore everyone by saying it twice. But they have to balance what I said at the beginning about the financial implications with the actual integrity of the game in England. Because, in my opinion, you cannot have these 6 teams playing in this European Super League and playing in the Premier League because it just destroys the entire credibility of the structure of English football and the merit-based system that we have. Because a number of things will happen. Some in the short will happen very quickly, others will in the long run. So with the amount of money these teams are going to be making in this European Super League, they will be basically untouchable in the domestic game. They will be hoovering up all of the world's best players, right? And they'll be paying wages that are astronomical that we can't even dream of paying to players. So they will monopolize the top 6 in the Premier League. No one will be able to get near the top 6. It will be the same top 6 every season. All that will change is the order from season to season. Every other team, no matter what level you're at in the game, your highest aspiration will be, can we finish 7th in the Premier League? It turns every other team in the country into also-rans. Right? That's number one. The other problem is that they're no longer scurrying for a top 4 finish. The only thing they'll care about, these six teams, they'll still want to be champions of England, right? They'll still want to win the Premier League because that will still be prestigious. But after that, they don't give a shit. Let's take this season. Let's say in any given season, Man City, like this season, or like Liverpool last season, are running away with the league and having an unbelievable season. The teams below them don't care about anything else. It was all just about winning the league if they could. Once that's gone, their games to them are dead rubbers. They don't care if they finish Does it matter to them really if they finish kind of 2nd or 10th? There's no Champions League. They're not missing out on Champions League. So you could have a situation where, for example, Arsenal have a game away at Brighton on Saturday, and then they have a massive European Super League game away at Juventus on the Tuesday night that they have to win to make the playoffs. Right? What team are they putting out against Brighton at the weekend? They don't care about their league position.
They'll have enough money to have two teams good enough. That's the problem.
They don't care about their league position. They'll put their second string team out away at Brighton. The whole integrity of the game goes in the bin. If these teams are allowed to play in a European Super League and the Premier League, it cannot happen.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I really do. And I think you've summed it up, really, with the financial side of it. They will just blow. They will go and pay 100 million for, say, for example, if Man United wanted Declan Rice, they can go and drop 100 million like a drop of an ocean. Do you know what I mean? Whereas us,
we've got no chance. If you're not one of those 6 teams, you've got no chance. Like the time will come, they'll be paying their best players $1 million a week.
Sad time, mate. It is.
Do you think Rice would rather go get that than play international football and captain England? That's the dilemma there.
What it is when you look at things and you've got to weigh it up. Like things like I'm going to give someone an example now. Like someone like James Milner. He's done his time at playing international football. If he was going to play in the Super League, it don't affect him, so to speak. He don't really care. There'll be people like Oxlade-Chamberlain. I'm just I'm watching the Liverpool game now. It's currently 1-1. And I'm looking at Oxlade-Chamberlain running around and I'm thinking he's nowhere near the England team. Is he going to be fussed about getting back into the England squad? I think it's a shame. But I see a lot of things on Twitter and social media and people saying about the club, right? It's not the club's fault. It's the owners. That's what people have got to understand. It's the owners of the club, and they've done something terrible. Tommy, what do you think? How do you think them fans are feeling, mate? Them clubs.
It's clear from Twitter. Look, they're all sickened by this. Like I said earlier, nobody wants this except the owners. I don't think the players in particular are even fond of this idea. I doubt it very much. Managers, I doubt, are fond of this idea. Certainly Jurgen Klopp, you could clearly see, did not like this idea at all and is not in favour of this. And I'm sure he's far from alone. So I really feel for the fans of these 6 teams because, you know, if West Ham had been involved in this, I'd be furious right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely furious because it just goes against everything we believe in when it comes to our football. It shits on the whole spirit of the entire thing. These clubs are shitting all over the rest of the teams in their country, right? It's a disgrace, and I'd be just unbelievably ashamed of my club if they were doing this, and I'm pretty sure that's how the fans of these teams are feeling, completely and utterly ashamed and embarrassed that they've been dragged into this by their greedy owners.
Yeah, I agree. I really do. West Ham Online, welcome, mate. First of all, what did you think of Klopp's interview? That's what I'm going to ask you. And second of all, what have you thought of today's events?
I thought Klopp said as much as he could in the interview to clearly display that he didn't want the Super League to go forward. I saw West Ham Central, once again, his name seems to be coming up in the idiotic section, but the man said that he bottled the interview. He did not bottle it, in my opinion. He went as much as he could say without getting sacked. He did. And today's events have been shocking, really. Probably, arguably, one of the most shocking couple of days since football began. And, you know, what's to come tomorrow is, I just don't know. I expect big events to occur tomorrow as well.
What do you expect tomorrow to happen from the Premier League?
Well, they're having their meeting, aren't they? So I expect some clarity on that. I don't know what time that will come out, but I expect that. What I actually think will happen is they'll remove the teams from. Do I think that? No, I don't think anything too serious will happen. I think what will happen is they'll stay in this season, but then they'll say if you join the Super League, then you're out of the Premier League. I think that's what they'll do.
Do you
But
think
they
there'll be a
already have
point?
joined the Super League. They've
Yeah.
signed a 23
Yeah.
year deal. That's
Yeah,
the
I know,
thing.
yeah,
It's just because it hasn't
I don't-
started. They can't
Yeah.
go easy on them because it hasn't started. And if they leave them in it, like they're just it's gonna be another league title to them, and the Champions League. Whoever gets Champions League is going to be. Who knows what it's going to be like? They need to get. The thing is they'll need to get rid of them now, or not do anything at all, which is the problem.
See, I was on another show earlier on, and someone said about the government are going to try and bring in a rule to sort of like change the law on
The German
ownership.
style, is it?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be a 51-49%. Like you can own 49% from an outside owner, but the fans have a percentage of the club. And I think the problem is with that is if we all own something and we don't want to sell it, we ain't going to sell it, are we? Do you know what I mean? So, I don't get where this goes now. What it is, I think the points deduction that has to be, and a big fine has to be placed to sort of say you can't be taking liberties because you're a big club, if that makes sense. Because
Well, hopefully,
Liverpool,
James, it's a decent point in production because Liverpool are drawing at the moment as well. So
yeah, but even then, I don't know about you lads, but even then, right, even if it's a points deduction and all that, is it going to feel the same ever again now from these clubs? There's, you know what I mean? Whatever happens, it's like what Caffel said previous. He said it's a lose-lose situation. If they don't go into it, then it's going to be like, it's going to be downgraded. Like these teams are going to be downgraded for the rest of their lives. Do you know what I mean? To say, you know what, you decided to walk when the grass was greener, so to speak. Do you know what I mean?
I think there is a way for these clubs to redeem themselves, to restore their names, as it were.
Yeah.
But it will require the removal of their owners. It will require a complete sea change in the way their clubs are run. Like you said just now, James, 49% fan ownership. If the clubs, as in the fans and everyone who loves those clubs and cares about the game in general, if they do the right thing now and get rid of these people, then the clubs can be redeemed to say, you know what, fair play, the fans and the people within the clubs did the right thing.
I know we don't know this, but could a mass sort of cull of all the ownerships, if that was to happen, does that null and void the 23-year deal that they all signed? Is that it? Like that's the sort of thing. What way is it going to work legally for all them? Like, are they required to do this?
There's got to be a way, Caffel, because they did the 23-year deal behind FIFA's back and UEFA's back. So I don't know whether. Oh, don't get me wrong. There might be a way where they have to apply to it, but surely there's something that can happen because they did it behind their back when they were already assigned to these other projects, basically.
Basically,
yeah, there were snakes in the grass. Like
what Caffel's saying, he has got a good point there. If you sign a contract for something, it's legal and binding, isn't it? Really, and basically, there's not a lot else you can do about it. If you've signed into something, like if you sign into an house and you sign the contract and you own the house, and then you say, oh, hold on a minute, I can't afford this house, then you've got a bit of a problem. Do you know what I mean? If that is the case, Tommy, where do you see, if they have signed into something, which they have, and they want to get out of it, how would you see them getting out of it?
I think the only way to get out of it is to make it financially unviable to the point where it just collapses in on itself. So just walking away would probably have legal ramifications. You know, just say, change our minds, we're off. That would be breach of contract, obviously. But if you can find a way where it just becomes untenable to start running this league, then essentially all that happens is that everybody walks away from it. So, listen, as far as I'm aware, I don't think any real money has changed hands now yet, right? I don't think anyone has actually, like JP Morgan or whoever who's bankrolling this. I don't think they've actually started the process of bankrolling it.
I think what they've done, they've set it up. They've got all the teams in place to say who wants to come in. They've all signed for it, basically, but nothing has been finalised as in to say like with financial, because it hasn't started yet, has it? It's like when you organise an event.
Yeah, so I think if it all collapses like a house of cards right now, then I think everybody gets to just walk away. But if we get
a few more teams as well.
Yeah. Well, they've said that they expect 3 more teams very soon to join.
3 more founders and then 5 more.
So basically, how it's going to work, just for anyone who doesn't understand, there will be 15 founding teams who will play in it every season, and then every season there will be 5 clubs who've been invited to play in the Super League that season. Those 5 teams will change each season.
The honor,
They'll be rotating. So that's another one of their little bribes.
It's so elitist, even thinking of it like that, though, isn't it? Just come play with us, big boys over here for a year.
1 year.
Like,
even if you win the whole thing, Caffel. Yeah, I bet you go next year.
It's so elitist.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah, it's a closed system. It's just meant to make these 15 clubs mega rich, mega powerful, and basically untouchable.
Yeah, it's a frightening time. Honestly, it really is. I'm going to ask West Ham online on this because he speaks to a lot of fans online and everything. How do you think all them fans are feeling from all them clubs, mate? Like, because they must be devastated, right deep down. Like Liverpool fans, for instance, like they will never have the Merseyside derby. You know what I mean, and things like that.
Yeah, I was speaking to a lot today, and what's interesting before I come on to what the fans said is big pages. For example, professional footballer like Bobby Zamora. Just to put this in perspective, he ran a poll of who's for and against it, and I'm pretty sure it was something like 96% were against it. And in terms of the fans, the fans are devastated. Absolutely devastated. If you go on any fan channel like AFTV, Anfield Agenda, any of that at the moment.
Sure, the United Stand did like a 3.5-hour stream last night on it.
Oh, he said he's going to quit. He said he's not going to do United News if they. Yeah. So that puts it into perspective. But he even said that they'd rather be in the 9th tier where it's not professional, honest football than this money laundering rubbish that they're going on with. So I think all the fans are disgusted. And if you don't have fan interest, then what do you have? What you have is businessmen making a mockery of the competition.
Yeah, I was talking to a Liverpool fan earlier, a really good guy. He's absolutely sickened because we were talking about Liverpool's history, and he said for all Liverpool fans, their history is tied up in English football, that's winning English titles, FA Cups, and in winning European Cups / Champions League titles. He said they're very, very proud of their history domestically and in the European Cup. He said their whole history is tied up in those 2 competitions. And now they're at the point where they won't get to play potentially in either of those. And they'll be just stuck with this stupid European Super League. The stupid European Super League where that he feels no passion whatsoever for, that they have no history in, that they have no connection with as Liverpool fans. And I'm sure
we'll see that a lot over here.
We'll see that
a lot over here, Tommy, because as you'd know well, majority of people we know are fans of them 6 clubs who are gone into it. So over here, it's going to be mad for what lads are going to be doing football supporter wise. Like how are they going to deal with it?
Yeah. Do you know what I find most disgusting? These clubs have built all their history without these owners, and these owners are taking advantage of their history for their own financial gain I just find that
Yeah.
absolutely disgusting. I don't know
It's
how
robbing
that's
them.
possible.
It's and then as the thumbnail says on this broadcast, it was created by poor people and it's being stolen by rich people. But the game was created by poor people and it's being stolen by the rich, and it's a sad day for a lot of things. But moving on to us as a club, where does this, Tommy? How does this affect West Ham United now, mate?
Well, financially, it's if we're assuming, are you talking, James, that if this actually goes ahead and they actually do
Yeah,
start playing
Yeah.
in this European Super League? It's hard to know at the moment for the simple reason everything will depend on whether or not these 6 clubs get to stay in the English League. If they get to remain as Premier League clubs, financially it won't change much for us because the Sky, the broadcast money will still be there. The money will still be rolling into the Premier League from that. So financially it won't change a whole lot. It will make it basically impossible for us and every other team in the country to compete at the top of the Premier League. Your dreams are done. The dreams we'll have left is that maybe we can win an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup at some point. But that's it. I mean, that's your whole hopes and dreams in those 2 little buckets. Doing anything like we've done this season in the Premier League, you can forget about it. It's never happening again.
West Ham Online,
No,
what's your thoughts?
obviously, sorry, James, just to finish.
Go on, mate.
The flip side of that is if we chuck these teams out of the Premier League and they're gone, and so now we've got 6 teams coming up from the Championship, no relegation this summer. Obviously, that completely changes the whole landscape. I mean, the adjustment that will have to be made by the clubs that are left will be massive. Now, it won't be too bad for maybe some of the clubs that are coming up. They're not coming from a kind of a strong financial position, maybe anyway. But for teams who've been in the Premier League all along and who've built our model on that Premier League money that rolls in, if the next broadcast deal, you'd have to imagine it would be substantially smaller. We're going to have to seriously readjust. We're probably going to have to sell a hell of a lot of players because we just can't pay them anymore. And we're going to have to bring in players who are on a lot less money. And we're going to have to get really creative in our signings. And we're going to have to completely, and not just us, but all those other established Premier League teams that are left are going to have to completely revamp the club finances so that we can survive in the long term going forward.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I really do. I'm just listening. When I'm sitting here, I'm not saying anything. I'm listening to everything you're saying, and yeah, it's fucked, basically, isn't it? In a grand scheme of things, it's really fucked up. West Ham Online, what's your thoughts on that, mate, with regards to West Ham?
Every time I think about this even more and more, I've become more and more disappointed, upset, and just completely just shocked at this whole thing. And I think in terms of West Ham, we can give up our dreams if this happens. We can dream of if they're not in the league and we win the Premier League, for example. Yeah, don't get me wrong, it'll be nice, but it's just not the same. This isn't what we dreamed of. We dreamed of challenging the big boys and getting the top 4, European nights, things like that. Everything that in all our, no matter how old anyone who is sitting here right now, all we've been used to is the Premier League, West Ham being a bit of a lower end Premier League side, and we just wanted to reach that next stage, and we've been trying to do it for the past few years, and it finally felt like we'd reached a stage where we could challenge them a little bit this year, and they've just completely ripped that away from us without giving us a say, basically. I think it's disgusting. I think it's absolutely disgusting. I think it will completely, for the next 23 years or however long it is, will just ruin all of our dreams. And I just don't think I'll have the same emotion watching football. I just think it just won't be as exciting. There's not as much in it for me anymore.
Yeah, look, I totally understand where you're coming from there, mate. But I just wonder, obviously the initial adjustment will be huge, and it'll be a massive kind of culture shock, as it were. Let's say these 6 teams aren't in the Premier League that have always kind of been there, and but I just wonder long term what it will be like. Let's say they do go from English football and they go off and have their nice little jolly up in their European Super League and bring in their money. I just think after that initial kind of shock wears off, and we're back to a 20-team Premier League.
Yeah.
And we make the financial adjustments that are necessary.
We won't care who we're playing once we see our team.
We might actually find that the Premier League actually is still a very good league.
To us.
And
I actually think it'd be more competitive. I think it'd be more competitive.
But
exactly.
What we need is,
there's no superpower.
We need the fans. We need the fans of other leagues to start to forget that Super League and come over and.
What you got to understand is, there's a lot of clubs, and Tom, you know this, right? There's clubs like Nottingham Forest who are steeped in history, right? That club has won European honours and stuff like that. Portsmouth won the FA Cup about 12 years ago when Aaron Redknapp was in charge, right? There's big clubs in the lower leagues and who are like sort of sleeping giants, really.
We've got them in the Premier League too. Let's not forget, right now in the Premier League, if you get rid of these 6 clubs, you've still got
Aston Villa.
You've got Aston Villa, Leeds, Newcastle, Everton. Serious clubs. I mean, if those other clubs... exactly. If those other clubs are gone, Wolves are actually a European Cup. Listen, if those clubs are gone, I'm telling you, these clubs will rise. We will start a new chapter. We will create new giants, as it were.
And I think all them other fans, they're not going to sit. There's going to be a lot of people who are not willing to watch their clubs play Super League or whatever it's going to be. There is a lot of them who are going to either find smaller teams, maybe they might just choose a championship team they've always liked. They might choose a Premier League team they've liked. Like West Ham seem like a team that a lot of clubs outside of London might like. Like there's a lot of fans who respect West Ham. They could say, okay, feck it, I'll support West Ham. They could go support their local team.
I guarantee
it will be good in the long run.
Yeah, I guarantee you we'll get people from Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham who start taking their kids to West Ham. Or
it's not gonna stop that.
Or to Orient or Brentford or QPR or somewhere else.
Yeah, you're right. I remember yesterday I got I gained 300 followers overnight yesterday, and I got loads of messages from people saying the reason they chose to message me was because they're done with their clubs and they're going to start supporting West Ham. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Whether you'll be like, whether you'll
welcome them with open arms.
I'll
stab them in the back and betrayed.
I'll welcome them. Look, I'll welcome them if they're serious about it and they're going to stay.
Yeah, not just hanging about with it. But,
okay, they might not have started out West Ham fans, but their kids will be huge West Ham fans as much as any of us. So by all means. I can understand it. I can understand it. If West Ham were joining this league, I'd be completely disgusted. I really would. I'd be absolutely disgusted. And I'd have to seriously think about walking away. I really would.
I think if West Ham joined that league, I think there'd be a riot, mate. I think they'd actually go. I think you would have an army. If West Ham fans, the thing is, everyone's got to stick together on this. And and the fans, I know they say about they want to come and support different clubs and all that. You support who you support. I couldn't go and support another club. It's not in me. I've been brought up in the area. I've got East End family. It's not as easy as just I'm just going to go and support another club. So I get it, but I don't get it because it's not the club's fault. It's the owners, and I can't stress that enough. If you take the owners away, the club will still remain. If that makes sense, you just got to get the owners out of there. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe they just feel
not that easy though.
It's too upsetting for them to watch their teams in this situation.
But they won't. You see, Chelsea won't be Chelsea at by the end of this. They'll be London Blues or some shite like that. It's going to become completely franchised. It's going to be
Yeah, I mean,
Merseyside Red,
that's disgusting.
North
What I want to
London.
say
It's going to
is,
be Pez. It's going to be
yeah,
Pez. It's going to be Pez in real life.
what I want to say before I start to come to wrapping it up, gentlemen, is this comment here. That's why I've held this comment there for a long time. Lads, what are your thoughts that GSB will say at the meeting tomorrow?
It's Brady. It's Brady going to it.
Yeah. So what do you? I'll ask Tommy first. What do you think she'll say tomorrow, Tommy?
I think, like all the other 14 clubs, I think she'll say that West Ham are completely against this move by these 6 teams. They will ask for serious sanctions to be imposed upon them. The nature of those sanctions, I don't quite know, whether it will be huge fines plus massive points deductions, whether it will be demotion, or whether they'll go the full hog and say we want these teams thrown out of the Premier League because this is against Premier League rules. Premier League rules state that you cannot join a competition without Premier League sanctioning it. They've clearly broken that rule. And I really hope that all 14 clubs' representatives say to the FA and to the Premier League, we want these teams thrown out of the league. Not fined, not points deductions, gone. Because it's untenable. For the reasons I spoke about earlier, for the sake of the game, for the integrity of the game, it is impossible for these teams to be allowed to play in both competitions. It just destroys all sense of competition, fairness, or integrity. It destroys the English game. It destroys the English game if these teams are allowed to do both. And it has to be made clear to these teams in whatever statement that Premier League come out with that it will not be allowed. That by hook or by crook, the Premier League, the English game, will take its chances without them. It's the only way forward if they insist, as they seem to be doing, on joining this European Super League. I will not be happy with any less. I want a very, very strong statement from West Ham tomorrow that we want these 6 teams thrown out of the league. End of story.
I agree, mate. I really do. Cathal, what do you think, mate, on that?
Yeah, just have to echo everything Tommy said there. Like you can't go easy on them. You can't you have to take the risk and just say, right, you've broke the rule. The Premier League has all legal right to fuck them out because they've broke the rules. They've done it. And if they want to come crawling back in 23 years after making a balls of that bloody competition, send them off to the non-league and do what they did with Rangers and what has been done with Parma. Make them work their way up from the bottom. It just has to be done.
Make them re-register as clubs.
Yeah, new club.
So you start
same as what Rangers had to do.
You start the same way any newly registered club starts, right at the fucking bottom.
Yeah, it's
to the left. Everything you own in a box to the left.
That's what it'd be, mate. It'd be. It's just. But do you know what, though, Tommy? I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to ask Cathal this: if they do go, what team out of the 6 of them will you miss playing the most? Because we've had some great games with Man United, we've had some great games with Tottenham, we've had great games with all of them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, probably I'll miss the Tottenham games the most because they're the team I love beating the most. I love beating them more than anybody else.
My next door neighbour is a Tottenham fan as well. Like it's just if you can beat them. My football coach is a Tottenham fan. You beat them. That's just the sweetest one because it's the rivalry.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I would say Tottenham, but I think Man United for me. I watched them lose the title at Upton Park years ago, and Blackburn won it. And we had some good games and we've gone to the FA Cup game with them. Di Canio scored that goal, and there's been some good games with, and obviously the Great Escape season when we survived on the last day through Tevez. So it's just. It's just sad, mate, isn't it? It's just like money is just ruling the roost now.
It's complete lose here. It's sad. As you said it, it's just sad.
I'll tell you what, because I know is that true? James Milner just came out and said we don't want it, we don't like it. Good man, James.
Yeah.
Fair play to him.
Yeah, fair play. I think James is at that age now in his career where he figures, fuck it, I can just say it now.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
know, if he's
He
not
could
at
join
Liverpool,
a team like West Ham and be happy.
yeah, he may well not be at Liverpool next season anyway. You know, and even if he was going to be, but now won't be, he's at the end of his career. He probably feels
It's not like they were winning the title this year anyway.
Yeah. But here's let me because I know there's a lot of doom and gloom and hand wringing about this, and it is terrible. Don't get me wrong, it is a terrible thing. But here's the thing, right? Where I have maybe this is naive, and you can all tell me I'm very naive.
Yeah.
If you think I am, but football's been going in this direction for a long time. It's been abandoning the fans little by little, year on year, where the fans have been feeling disenfranchised with the game. They've been feeling kind of left out in the cold by the game, unloved, unneeded, unwanted,
How long would you say, though, Tommy? Before you carry on, mate, how long would you say it's been going on like that for?
It's been going on for years and years. Years and years now. Like
Abramovich came in, superpowers coming into the game.
Yeah, so once the kind of mega money started, right? Once the mega money, not just mega money owners, but the mega money TV deals. That's when it really started to set itself apart from the fans, and started to disregard fans more and more and more. And it's been building and building and building. Now, this for me is the final nail in the coffin. If we allow this to happen, as fans, it's over for us. It's not our game anymore. Clearly, this is being set up by owners of these clubs who feel they don't need us. Don't particularly need us, don't particularly care about us, don't care about our feelings or what we want, don't care about our passion, our love, don't care how this hurts people. They just want the money. So here's what I hope. I hope that an already disenfranchised fan base, and I mean this, Premier League wide, an already disenfranchised fan base will say, okay, this is it now. You've gone too far. We're not taking this. We've had enough. We won't stand for it. We're taking our game back. We've tried it your way. You're money-grabbing, greedy pricks. This is the people's game. It belongs to us. You're trying to take it away from us and make us irrelevant. We're done with this now. It's over. We're taking our game back. And I hope that's what we do, and we get government assistance to do it, where we have the 51 rule, where the fans own 49% of the club. And we take our game back and say, we will no longer stand for being abused by the owners, mega rich, greedy, bastard owners of clubs. We're not going to take it anymore. And I really hope this is that turning point. I really hope this is the straw that breaks the camel's back. And that we, the fans, will take our game back now. Because we have to. This is it now. It's crunch time. We can't allow this now. Because if we do, it's over for us. We're done. Fans are done in this game if this happens. We are completely irrelevant from now on if we stand for this. This is the time where we have to stand up and say, no, enough is enough. We're taking our game back.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I really do. And this is what football needs the fans more than ever now. And they do. They need the fans.
Exactly.
Well, and they need everyone, not just their own fans. They need everyone to stand side by side. Whether they're a Chelsea fan or a Tottenham fan, say, you know what, you're not on your own now. We're all in it together. Don't get me wrong. What they've done as owners of the club, they need to be punished and punished right. But I think for the integrity of the game and the future of the Premier League, all the fans have got to stick together and fight this out. And what they've got to do, they've got to get their owners out of the clubs. And they've either got to make a rule that is, because the government, the only people who can change this is the government. And if the government come in with a rule and says, right, from now on, that you can only own half a Premier League club, and the other half has to go to like a supporters trust, where all the fans go to the supporters trust and basically it's 50-50, then they can't do this craziness, in my opinion. And it's frightening, really. And in one way, I'm glad I might get stick for this, but I'm glad we got GSB in charge, because if we'd have had American owners in charge and we was a successful club, fuck knows where we would have been. Do you know what I mean? Because it would have been a riot over down the stadium, 100%, and people wouldn't have stood for it at all.
I'd rather be a Red Bull club than in that league. Like I'd rather be a Red Bull club than be in that.
Yeah,
That's how bad it is. And I've been against the Red. I think Red Bulls are a romantic thing, but I don't like the way they just sort of take away the identity of the club. But I'd rather have that and stay around the sort of same thing than become one of those Super League teams.
Just got to put this up there.
Yeah, I seen that. The Merseyside Reds, and they
from
put
the admin at Leeds Twitter full time. Leeds whole Super
Man
League.
United. If you look on their like website for their fixtures, it says like Trafford Reds as well for their game against Man United.
Yeah,
they're going at it.
I think what it is.
I really hope our players and our club makes a very strong statement ahead of the Chelsea game at the weekend.
Do you think, Tommy, that will go ahead on Saturday? I know tonight's game's gone ahead, but could you
with the meeting? We'll have to see.
It's up in the air, James. Honestly, it's up in the air. I just don't know what's going to happen. You know,
it's all smoke and mirrors. You're going to have to
I hope we finish out the season, because you know we're probably going to have a title to play for now. So you know,
if it goes, we're 9 points ahead. Title to grasp with two hands, Tommy.
Yeah, it's there for us now. Premier League champion.
No, I'll tell you what, it's never there for West Ham, mate. We can give away a 9 points lead, trust me.
Guarantee you 9 point lead with 5 games to go. We'll still manage to finish second.
Yeah, that's it, mate. That's it. Right, boys, I'm going to wrap it up. I want to thank Cathal for coming on. Thanks, mate.
Thanks for having me, James.
And it's been a pleasure. I sent a few links to a few other people, obviously time-wise and all that, couldn't make it. And I want to thank Tommy for coming on. I know it's always good to get your insight, mate. And
appreciate it.
You're making me look bad half the time. Feck's sake, Tommy.
Yeah,
such a good speaker, isn't he?
No, but he speaks from the art like we all do. We've all got our ways of speaking.
You're
do you know what I mean?
Class, Tommy. You know what you speak from the heart, and you don't take any shit. You know what you're on about.
Yeah, well, I think, look, James is the same, actually. Look, me and James have been on other shows where we've had differences of opinions, and we speak strongly.
I've been there as well, yeah.
You know, and we speak strongly against each other, you know, and our differing opinions, but we respect each other for it, because it's all about opinions. And me and Jay, I have a lot of respect for James. You know, I respect his opinions, even if I disagree with him. And, you know, to be honest, like, I really enjoy the times, James, when we're on and we have disagreements, and because that's more fun than everybody just nodding along. Yeah.
Exactly.
You know,
if everyone just sat there like a nodding dog and just agreed with everything, it'd be boring. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's all about opinions, and I would say to anyone, don't be afraid. If you have an opinion, you're entitled to it. Give it, and stand your ground if you really.
We're on a West Ham fans channel for a reason, like.
Yeah.
There's no point coming on if you're not going to be saying anything.
Nah. No, but like I say though, right, it's always a pleasure to have you on. You're always welcome on. And yeah, it's always good to have a difference of opinion. I might not agree sometimes, or we'll have a little bit of banter and all that, but it's all love. It's all love in the end, man. At the end of the day, and at the end of the day, it's a sad day for football. Like, as a West Ham fan, I love West Ham, but for football itself, it's a sad day for that and all. Do you know what I mean? And I just hope tomorrow is a brighter day and a bit of a better outcome of where we're going to be heading, like, as a 20-team club.
Yeah,
but
like I said, my hope is that we will look back on this down the line and say we're actually really glad that happened, because that was the day that fans said no more and took their game back. That's my hope. That's my hope.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Well, everyone, I just want to say thanks for everyone to watching. This has been through from the sidelines, the European Super League update, and it's been a good show tonight. I'll be back during the week with another one. Looking forward to the Chelsea game, and obviously speaking more. If anyone wants to come on, they're always more than welcome. DM me on Twitter, etc. I want to thank Tommy for tonight for coming on, and I want to thank Cathal. Lads, you take care, and I'll speak to you again soon. Take care,
Cheers,
lads.
James.
Cheers,
Thanks,
James.
bud.